God kväll. Welcome back to the Flickerverse, where we ask all the what-if questions of the Wheel of Time and jump through portal zones together. How are you doing, Goat Brother?
I'm doing good. How's my sound? I've changed my setup a bit. I've got a new one.
I think your sound is good.
Good, that's fine.
Thanks for the reminder. I should put on our background music. I have not done that. Let's see. Some into space. There we go. Because sound is sort of the theme for today. I think it's not an ordinary day in the Flickerverse. And we're.
Is there any?
Yeah, I think. I mean, we're feeling.
Is there any ordinary day in the Flickerverse?
Not really, but
No.
So right, we're feeling a bit lonely, so we brought in a special guest today. Welcome,
Hello.
Jordan.
Hi, Jordan.
Great
to have
mind
you.
behind the Soundscape of Time.
Exactly.
Welcome to the Flickerverse.
Thank you for letting me come and visit.
Yeah, happy to have you. So, for those watching who don't know you, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, I'm an audio engineer and composer. I've been doing that for about a decade now, and what I've been doing in the last 3 years or so have been creating these audio soundscapes that we're going to talk a little bit more about. Creating 3D audio accompaniment to audiobooks. So I started with The Lord of the Rings, designing sound effects and music and ambient nature sounds and everything like that for the whole 63 hours of that audiobook. And now I've started that journey on The Wheel of Time. So that's a little bit about what I'm doing. And hopefully we can listen to a little bit later and talk more about it.
Absolutely. Sounds amazing. But yeah, first let's talk about what's happened in the Wheel of Time news these last couple of days or the last week. And then we'll delve some more into the soundscape. So first of all, we have Renew What campaign still going strong. We have, as of this moment, 146,000 letters sent to petition
Pretty
Amazon,
awesome.
and
it went kind of crazy during the weekend.
Yeah.
Some people from the show decided to share it on their Instagram story.
Exactly. I saw Rosamund shared it. Guy and Jess shared it.
JCG, Yosha.
Yeah.
Rave.
Yeah. So, lots of cast and crew sharing this. The thing the fandom can do.
Yeah.
It's quite amazing, actually. So if you haven't signed the petition already or sent the letters, then go to renewwalk.com and just fill in the little survey thingy and add your name to the pile of names. And there's been some also some articles regarding the renewal. We got this one from Forbes saying why fans shouldn't worry about Wheel of Time Season 4 renewal. Then we also I think we got this sort of update from John from What Up, giving us
according to his sources, there is a deal on the table. He didn't go into
Sorry, lost your audio a little bit, Roger.
Apparently, John, there is a deal on the table.
Yeah.
Season 4, and maybe more. He didn't go much more into detail than that, but apparently they are short of signing if both parties, or maybe there are three, I don't know. If iWatt has anything to say about the deal at this stage. Yeah, but we can be hopeful. I mean, I didn't doubt that from the beginning, but yeah.
I'm still very positive that we'll get some, and hopefully we'll hear something soonish. I know John said in the video that like the deadline would be this fall.
Yeah.
At the latest, so hopefully at least by summer or tomorrow. Who knows? Who knows the workings of Amazon and Sony, but I think they have seen and felt the fandom love at least. And what else? So also Takaranryod doing a Wheelie Awards. So here's another little survey you can fill out, and we can. I think I already shared the link in our Discord, so you can. A lot of different categories here for season 3: best new character, best costumes, and so on. So
best costumes, that'll be a hard one.
Yeah, a lot of these questions were really hard ones. Like, don't make me pick. So have you filled this out already? Have you seen it?
I have not. I'll have to add that to the to-do list.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of these are hard though.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I did last night during my shift. And some are pretty easy. Oh, come on.
I mean, it depends on the perspective.
If the option is Fa'il, it's practically.
I know that. I knew that would be you. It's like best line of dialogue. All of these are amazing. Oh, welcome, Road to Tombalon. Hello.
Hi, Amber.
Hello.
Let's see, what else did we got? Okay. We have some interviews also. Mikhail talking about Hills of Tenshiko. That song can't get enough attention. As a sound music person, Jordan, did you enjoy the Hills of Tenshiko?
Oh, definitely.
Dumb question, but you know.
Yeah, no, I love it. I just thought it was so funny. I think someone pointed it out too. I don't remember where, but I thought it was so funny that like we come back to that scene like so it seems like a good amount later and they're still like just singing the same song.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
Put it on repeat.
Yeah.
There's so much going on in the background and everything. It's it was a really fun episode.
Yeah.
And we also had some more interviews with Girl Talk HQ. I don't know this magazine, but they got an interview with Davina Lamont, who is then in charge of hair, makeup, and prosthetics. So big kudos to her for like bringing Savannah's outfit and all these other amazing things to life. And it's I mean, the whole costume department is just brilliant.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're not gonna read through all of these articles. So we're sharing them in our Discord, and you can all go and read through them at your leisure. And another magazine, Zenobia Kloppers, shared this today. Chill Out. Talking about season 3. Yeah. And let's see what else. That's not Wheel of Time related, but Wheel of Time adjacent. So Alien Earth is a new show coming on August 12th, and it features Dean Camille, who plays Sutama, and also Sandra Senshi Diver. I'm not sure I'm getting her last name correctly, but Sandra, who played Amalisa in season 1. So we have at least 2 Wheel of Time cast in this show, and personally I'm a big Alien fan, so I'm definitely going to watch the show.
I only watched the first Alien for the first time this year.
Oh, wow.
Seriously?
Yeah, I don't know how that managed to happen, but I only watched it this year, and it was awesome. So
yeah, it holds up so great. Yeah,
it really does. Yeah. The design of the movie is crazy.
The first, and with the amount of budget that they had, they use it so wisely. It's still so effective, and the first 2 are masterpieces. The third one, I like the third one still, but after that it gets quite weird.
I mean, some of them are
roller coaster.
Yeah, some of them are great, some of them are, but I mean, it's still going to be aliens and people getting eaten by aliens. So I'm
I'm really interested to see what they do with this show for sure.
Yeah. So are you more like are you not a big sci-fi person, more fantasy, or what's your
I mean, I'm a huge Star Wars fan for sure. And I'm really been enjoying Foundation.
Looking forward
I've started The Expanse. Yeah, the trailer for season 3 looks great.
Looks insane.
Yeah, I don't know how it looks as good as it does for a TV show. Like the visuals, it's great. So plus Lee Pace is just the best. So Foundation. Like I said before, I'm a huge Lord of the Rings fan, so it probably starts with fantasy, and Star Wars is more fantasy anyways. So, but big fan of Star Trek as well, so that's in there. But yeah, I'm just starting the Alien journey.
Nice. And another movie that's coming out in 2 days, at least in the UK, I think, is Rosamund's new movie, Hallow Road. And some inside information from a certain other Shinaran says this is going to be a great one. And he might have also helped a bit during I think it was the table read. Not in the show, and he's not in the movie, but Guy's been sort of behind the scenes a little bit, at least.
That's awesome.
So, and apparently it's just like, it's Rosamund and Matthew Rhys, and the whole movie is basically them driving in a car, being on the phone. So it's just like almost like one long shot, as far as I've understood it.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah,
so lots of just like Rosamund's face. Sorry, Roger.
I just want to say that sometimes a very reduced setting is quite beneficial for for a movie. There's one. It's Locke, Locke, I think, with Tom Hardy. Same premise, alone in his car and driving to the hospital where his one night stand after off his Christmas party delivers their baby, and he's managing on the phone construction work, which he should be supervising, and coming clean to his wife. And I think that's a great movie.
Yeah.
All just in the car.
Yeah, just in the car, just always camera from the front, from the dashboard onto his face.
You can do so much with so little, and just like
Yeah.
And
I like
then
when
you
some
get
movies
to-
do they have like you could maybe cynically call it a gimmick, but like a strategy, I guess, for how the whole movie is going to go. Like 1917 does the whole movie as a single shot, and that movie is amazing. It really, when it leans into its the thing that it's doing, then I think it leads to some really interesting and unique things that you might not see in a normal movie,
Yeah, I think it challenges the creativity of the filmmakers.
Yeah.
It's like back in the day when you look at some of the old horror movies or special effects heavy movies, and you didn't have CGI. The tricks they have to come up with, and they try to beat each other with even more innovative special effects and makeup and stuff. I think that was a great period, and often looks better than CGI still.
Yeah.
And
What you
just
come
like
up with when you're limited.
Yeah.
And those kind of like movies like these, they really put the acting front and center. You can't have a bad actor in a movie like that. That's just gonna make it really bad.
Yeah.
Okay, one last thing before we jump into some other things. Also, if you haven't gotten your Malkieri-Con ticket, Juliet Howland is going to be a guest on the Saturday. So if you're happen to be in Europe or can travel to Europe in August, then
Prague is a nice place to go to.
Yeah, Prague is a nice place with very nice people. Speaking of nice people in Prague, it's Jessica Boone's birthday today, so happy birthday, Jessica.
Birthday.
Happy birthday.
Right. So Jordan, have you been to any conventions and things like that?
I have not been to any Wheel of Time ones yet. I've been I was at San Diego Comic-Con, kind of co-running a booth with the OneRing.net and Nerd of the Rings last year, which was really my first con that I've ever gone to, so it was pretty crazy and a lot. But it was really fun. And I've gone to a couple of the Tolkien conferences, and I'm at the end of June, I'll be the guest of honor at Mythmoot in Virginia, which will be really cool. So I'll be doing a big talk on my Soundscape stuff. But yeah, I hope to go to a Wheel of Time one and see what that's like. I've heard nothing but good things. So
yeah, it's a great place. Yeah. Great places. All the Wheel of Time conventions are really great. Different from each other, but all really good and friendly environment and everything. So
yeah, I think it would be really great.
But yeah, let's talk about your soundscapes, and just start by, what are they? How did you come up with the idea? And just give
Yeah.
us an introduction.
So, I'm a avid audiobook listener for sure, and I always kind of wanted more from an audiobook, if that makes sense. I wanted, I would listen to radio dramas or audio dramas and things like that, and I would say, this is cool. This shirt, yeah, it's awesome. I think I got this from Redbubble. I can send a link sometime if I can find it again. But yeah, so I would listen to audiobooks with audio dramas and things like that, and they were cool, but they always kind of let me down a little bit because they would abridge the story in some way, or the sound effects and music would be repetitive, just a looped sample that would play. So I was always wanting more from it. I would want the audiobook to be treated as if it were a movie, basically. What if we had sound effects? What if we had ambience? What if we had an original score that's specific to each moment of the story? And so, without abridging any of it, without changing any of it, kind of the full extended version of this experience. So that idea started with The Lord of the Rings. I did a Kickstarter a couple of years ago for it, and spent a year and a half writing music, writing probably over 100 themes for different characters in The Lord of the Rings, creating ambiences. I went out and recorded with my 3D microphone out in the woods and all that kind of stuff. Designed creature sounds for the Balrog and for the orcs and things like that, and then mixed it in Dolby Atmos for your headphones. So that means that it will move around in 3D in your headphones, and it's pretty cool because there's a couple ways that you can experience the soundscape, and this kind of evolved over the time of me creating these. So the initial idea was that you would sit down with your book and you would read while the soundscape is happening around you, right? Yeah. And one of the initial questions with that approach is usually what if my reading speed is different, right? Because everyone reads at different speeds. But the good thing is that because Michael Kramer and Kate and Rosamund and Andy Serkis are all kind of performing these audiobooks, it's really difficult to read as slow as they do. Yeah. Right? Especially Rosamund, because she's really acting it out. So that means that when you're reading, you're only ever going to get ahead, not behind of the soundscape, which makes it pretty easy, actually. You can listen and hear, if there's a knock on the Wine Spring Inn door or something like that. If you've read that and you haven't heard it yet, then you just kind of hang out, listen to the soundscape a little bit, you'll hear the knock, and then you can continue reading. So it's a pretty intuitive process if you're willing to just kind of experience it. But there's other ways, obviously. The whole experience is timed with the audiobook perfectly. So I have a syncing app that will put the two of them together and give you a new set of files so that you can listen to a full movie version of the audiobooks. And that's what most people will do. They'll put the two together and listen to it. And that's the kind of approach that we did for the Beltane Reading Day a little bit ago, which was a lot of fun. And I already have ideas for the next one, so hopefully we can get some more people back for that. And then the other way that people are enjoying it is that they'll just put it on without anything. They'll just put the soundscape on its own on in their headphones, and because of the detail that I'm trying to achieve here, you can kind of tell where we're at in the story at all times, kind of thing. So you'll hear Bella walking beside you on the way into Emmons Field, and we'll hear the ambience change from the Westwood to Emmons Field, and you'll be able to tell these events that you're familiar with. And it's kind of I always describe it as a fun kind of Easter egg hunt, where you can kind of pick out all these moments throughout, and you'll hear Moraine's theme come in and be like, oh, that's when they're meeting Moraine and Lan for the first time, and you'll hear the boys run up the staircase in the wine spring and all this kind of stuff. So that times 30 some hours worth of experience to check out. And I have some guest musicians, and don't worry, I have lots of things left in books 3 and 4 that I'm going to need your contributions for. So lots of things to add still. As we kind of know, book 1, book 2, we're kind of getting into the world still. There's a lot of development that happens. So in book 3 and book 4, things really open up, and I have a lot of ideas already for themes that I'm going to need my guest musicians to play on. So check out my Discord. Make sure you're keeping track of that, because I've got some posts in there for sure.
So how is how's your creative process? What does that look like?
Yeah, that's a good idea to talk about. So I sit down with the chapters, with one chapter, let's say, and I outline the whole thing to start. So I'm making markers that start here and end here and say, where are we? That's always the first step. Are we in Emmons Field? Are we in the wine spring? Are we in Falm? Are we in the Portalstone world? And where does that start and end? Because some of the chapters are one environment, but many of them transition through a bunch of different environments. So I had to map out where all of those start and finish. After that, I move into sound effects. So that's anything from, and I have it all categorized as I need all of the horse sounds, I need all of the footsteps, I need Sidene, I need Sidar, I need Trollocs, all of those when they happen. And this isn't putting any of them in yet, it's just tracking when they happen. And what I'm going to need to record, what I'm going to need to design, all that kind of stuff. So I have these massive spreadsheets of, the 50 or so ambiences that I needed for The Great Hunt, and how I needed to design them all differently, because, they all need to sound different. Like where it will be in Falm, but then we'll be in the exterior of Falm or in the streets. All of those have to sound different. So those are all planned out. Once I'm done that, I'll go into mapping all of the musical cues. So when I think music should start, when it should finish, and how that kind of plays off of the sound effects, because sometimes it needs both, sometimes it needs just music, sometimes it needs just sound effects, all that kind of stuff. So once all of that planning is done, then I go into actually creating all of the ambiences, putting all of the sound effects in. Some of those are from libraries that I've collected, right? Like I don't have access to horses to record myself, unfortunately. But I separated into things that I have from my libraries that I've recorded over time, and things that I need to live perform. So in the scene in Falm, when Rand walks in and they're playing dice, that was me recording my dicing sounds and things like that, and put those in.
Right.
A lot of the clothing movement and things like that is me, right in front of my microphone here, performing live with it. And then after that, I have to write all of the music, write all of these themes. Oh, that would be good recordings to get for sure.
Horse noises.
I'm always looking for, in my Discord, I'm always asking for little bits here and there. I got a bunch of people, more than I would have expected actually, to submit Varen drawing in the sand sounds from The Great Hunt. And there's a couple scenes where that kind of thing happens. When we meet one of the Aiel for the first time, that happens as well. So I have some samples that I'm kind of collecting over time, which is really a lot of fun. But yeah, then I write the music, and then I have to score each scene, and then I have to mix all of it in 3D, and then I listen to all of it again to make sure it sounds good, and then correct it and all this kind of stuff. So it's a pretty long process, but I hope that it's worthwhile for the listener at the end of the day. And it's a lot of fun, so I'm just happy to be able to do this kind of thing. And it's I think one of the most fun aspects of the process is conceptualizing it, like when I had to do the flicker scene, it's I have to figure out what that would sound like, and I don't have any visual to help me to sell it. So I have to figure out how to translate that, what works, what doesn't. And a lot of those scenes, I'm trying not to be influenced by the show in any way. Some of it is just what it is. Like Emmons Field is going to sound a certain way. So my ambience is going to sound similar to that. But it's interesting. Every chapter has a new challenge. You should definitely send me all of your sounds if you can, because I'm going to use them in some way for sure. Yeah.
So, please afterwards just share your Discord and everything. And
definitely. And how it works with the Kickstarter is really to allow me to have the time to do all these things to the detail that they deserve, I think.
Share that.
Because if you think about, one chapter could be like 45 minutes. 45 minutes, I need 45 minutes to outline it, and then at least 45 to put in some sounds for the individual sound effects, another 45 for the ambience. It stacks up really quickly, and when there's 50 some chapters in the book, that's a lot of time dedicated. So like I said, it's super rewarding process for me, but I really can't do it without the support. So that's why the Kickstarter is so important. But there's also fun add-ons. Like we were talking about the guest musicians earlier. There's voice roles for people that want to lend their voice to Trollocs and things like that. And there's a research team that I have that if people want to help me, decide what Emmons Field and things like that should sound like. That's really helpful as well. So that's a little bit about the project, but I'll kind of throw it back to you if you have any questions about anything more specifically.
So I was just thinking, if I remember correctly from when you spoke to Koala, I think you said that you read all the books after watching season 1.
Yeah, between season 1 and 2, I read all of them. Yeah.
So how is like that? You said you were trying to not get too influenced by the show, but yeah.
Where is that line kind of thing? Yeah. So luckily, as I was working on the first book, we were kind of in between season 2 and 3. And so just like I did with the Lord of the Rings, as soon as I started the project, I stopped watching the show, stopped listening to the music and all that kind of stuff. So by the time it was time to write the music, I was really not thinking about I couldn't really remember some of the music, so I was trying to distance myself from a lot of that. But there's also a lot of stuff in the books, as we know, that we never see in the show, that I have to design what drag cars sound like without any reference. Plus, designing Trollocs, I get to be a lot more accurate. I'm slowing down bird sounds and things like that and putting those in there and trying to be as accurate to the text as I can be, because I'm adapting it so much more closely than a show can, So there's certain tropes, I guess you could say, the kind of flash flicker sound that they ended up doing with the show in season 3, episode 4 is similar to the kind of distortion sound that I used in The Great Hunt, but yeah, nothing was like directly taken from it. Even the ways sound different in the way that I'm doing it. And musically, I mean, from a music perspective, I've already started writing like past a lot of what's in the show already. So I had to come up with my own kind of color to a lot of these sounds. A good example, I think I talked a little bit about this with Koala, but the Shan-Chan music is a lot different than what it was in the show. I tried to take a lot of the different cultural inspirations that are talked about in the Origins of the Wheel of Time book, and used those to influence the instruments that I'm using to write some of these themes.
There's no lack of material to get inspiration.
Exactly, yeah. And that's such a fun part of it, is trying to, what would this music sound like, what would this environment sound like, what would all these things if I didn't have to change anything like the show has to, then what would it kind of sound like in its, I don't want to say intended form, but you know what I mean. Like, I'm trying to get as accurate as I can, and the same thing happened with The Lord of the Rings, where I was, a good example is, if we know Minas Tirith in The Lord of the Rings, I was designing ambience for that, and it's a very, very tall castle, right? So it would be very windy up at the top or at the higher levels of that. Whereas in the show or in the movies, that's not something that is really apparent. But because I'm very tied to the POV that we're in, I'm trying to make it as accurate as it would be if we were there, Same thing, I'm trying to, when it's parent-focused POVs, I'm trying to heighten the sound effects and ambience just a little bit, because he would have heightened senses to that kind of thing. I'm trying to lean into the narrative as much as I can,
Awesome, Dovi.
Thank you. And yeah, that's a good thing to mention as well. There's people that backed the first part, and this is the second part. So how I'm kind of working with it is that you just back a certain amount of collections, and then that kind of corresponds to however many books you would like. So some people have already done 4 and they're doing the next 4. Some people are doing the first 4 now, etc., etc. So you can eventually get the whole collection.
Let's see, Dovi is asking me to refresh. Let's see. Oops, that was definitely the wrong button. Sorry.
All good.
Just a sec. Let's see. There we go.
Ta-da! Awesome. Yeah, every bit counts, and I think something important that I often forget to mention is that Kickstarters are all or nothing. So you either reach the goal and get the funding, or you don't. And I don't get any of the funding, kind of thing. So.
And the deadline is May. Let's see, May 25th or
24th at 7 Eastern for me. So,
okay, yeah. So in Europe, 25th.
yeah.
Let's say 24th. Yeah.
So yeah.
So you're writing like themes for all the like main characters and things, I guess, for the POV characters, I'm assuming. And you have like favorite theme that you've done?
That's a tough question. I have themes for characters. I also have themes for like the pattern has a theme. Faldara has a theme. The tower has a theme. Things like that. Let's see, if I were to choose one that was my favorite so far, I usually choose Tom's theme because it's very catchy. I really enjoy that one. But I really enjoy Egwene's theme as well. I will say that I really, really love Perrin's theme, but that's because I've, and I think I mentioned this on Koala's show as well, I've written the final version of it in book 13, I think. I can't remember. I won't go into detail, but I've written the final version of it to that scene. So it's already done. And same with one of Rand's moments. That scene is already done. So I've kind of written the final versions of some of these themes, and we have to work our way towards them. I did that with Nynaeve, Egwene, Perrin, and Rand so far. So Matt's music is only just starting right now because we're just getting into book 3 stuff.
So the characters' themes sort of evolved during the books as well?
Yeah. So we have elements of Perrin's theme that have been happening, but he's not his full self, we'll say. His character hasn't gone through his arc yet. Rand's has the most variation. There's a lot of different Rand themes. There's a farm boy version of Rand's theme. There's a theme that we hear in the prologue that is similar. There's versions of Rand's theme that intertwine with other characters' themes I won't get into. But that's kind of, again, I keep saying this with different things, but I love the challenge of that, of seeing the end game and trying to work towards it, trying to hint at different things. Some of the Aes Sedai, again, I won't be specific, but some of the Aes Sedai have little question marks in their themes, we'll say, that might lead to other things. And Matt's theme is a key part of some of the themes that happen at the end of book 2. But then there's just little fun things to do, like fun little theme for Baerlon, that we're going to hear like maybe once or twice, little things like that. And a little theme for Bael Doman. All these little things throughout the whole series, and it's fun to try and write the music in ways that emulates the area of the map that we're in as well. The music in Kyrian is very specific. It's a very kind of string quartet feel because we're very... I don't even know how to describe it, but the inspiration of Kyrian, I'm trying to evoke it musically, and I'll try to do that with some of the other places that we end up later as well. So that's just the music, not going into detail about how Saidin and Saidar sound and how they will, we probably won't hear this very often, but together they resonate together, those two sounds, so they were designed to fit, but we probably won't hear that, but because in the soundscapes I'm trying, like I said, to emulate the POVs, so right. Rand doesn't hear, if we're in a Rand POV, we don't hear the female half of the power, so all that kind of stuff.
Maybe the little tingle in the skin.
I do have a sound for that, though. That is in there.
Nice.
Seriously insane. I can't imagine how you keep track of everything. The spreadsheets you must have.
When do you sleep?
Yeah. And
the thing?
How you keep saying that's
it's all fun is the way that I keep saying. I just get to spend time in this world, which is really great, but I would definitely be lost without the spreadsheets, that's for sure. At the end of usually I'll outline a whole book so that I have a catalog of to-do lists where it's like, okay, I need the 50 ambiences. Some of them we've been to already, like if we've been to Emmons Field already, I have that. New themes, I have old themes, lists of sound effects. As the books continue, I hope, fingers crossed, that it gets a little bit easier, because I'll have a whole library of Trolloc sounds I've designed already, themes that are already written. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, every book I finish is a massive list of new content that I have to do, new elements that I have to design. But it's really fun because I'm pretty good with kind of jumping around. So I will do some sound effects for a chapter in Faldara. And then I'll write some music in Falm. And then I'll outline a chapter in The Ways or something like that. I'll jump around like that. And by being able to, like if I was only writing music the whole time, it would be hard. But because I can do sound effects sometimes, or I can do ambience sometimes, it always keeps it new and interesting and different. And I'm pretty, like if I start to feel the music start to not be what I want because I've been doing too much of it in a row, then I'll just stop and do sound effects instead. And that way I'm always progressing on the project, just in different ways. And it kind of works a different creative element. And sometimes I'll just swap to a totally different series. I'll just, in the background, I'm working on, some chapters for Foundation and some chapters for A Game of Thrones and things like that. So those are really nice to be able to like step aside and just do something totally different, but still make progress on it,
So like 1 hour of sleep.
No, I'm thankful for a lot of the, in book 2 and 3 so far, there's a good amount of like short 20-minute chapters. And when I see that next on the list, I'm like, oh, nice. It's, not nearly as much work when it's like Swan and Moraine in a room discussing something. Those are the light chapters. Light chapters sound effects wise, not musically. But yeah.
So I gotta, what's the like weirdest sound effect you've recorded or used to like put in?
I mean, some of the Trollocs are pretty weird because they're like really slowed down and kind of morphed bird sounds with other sounds and things like that, the portal stone in ambience, I talked about that before, where it's a super slowed down highway recording, so it sounds a little otherworldly, but it's almost like not there, like in when we're in the steading, there's a really low ambience that resonates like underneath the forest sounds. So if you weren't really paying attention, you might not notice it, but you'll notice that there's like something different is happening here. I had a lot of voice role people contribute for the Machin Shin and the Ways, which was awesome. So there's like layers of whispering and stuff like that from different people that swarm around you. That was really fun and chaotic to put together. Let's see.
So we have a question for Jordan here, from Amber.
Asking the hard questions, Amber? I do have ideas for Balefire for sure. The best way that I can describe what I'm hoping for is that scene in The Last Jedi where we hyperspace jump through the ship and it goes quiet for just a second. It's kind of the idea for Balefire is using silence with the hit to really sell the impact of it. So I'll use a combination of silence with kind of really pure resonance to make that sound. So we'll see. I haven't gotten there yet. there's time, but I mean, I played around with the sound for Saidar for a really long time. Saidin came pretty easily. It's got 2 different elements to it, but Saidar needed to kind of sound the same, and like I said, it needed to resonate with Sidene, but it needed to have a softer kind of feel to it. So I changed it pretty late. Most of book 2 was essentially done, and I was like, oh, I don't know if I like it. So I went back and fixed it for every chapter. And yeah, the taint is an element in there for sure, a separate element, I'll say. Trying to think of other weird sound effects. Ooh, awesome! Thank you all so much. What other weird sounds? Yeah, I've definitely. I always try and ask people. I'll play a little sample or something in my Discord and see what people think. And it's part of the kind of beauty of the project is how I was trained to do audio is always to have it clean and organized and precise, so that if we want to change stuff, we can. Like if someone is listening to a chapter and says, oh, you missed this important sound, then I can put it in and re-release it, and everyone will get it. So I can keep updating. Let me post that link to the Discord now, so I can get some new people. Still trying to think of other fun sounds that I've done.
I'm trying to think of like what kind of weird sounds do I have in my everyday life that I could.
I'm gonna get you to post this because it's not letting me, but I posted it for you.
Let's see.
I'm always needing little everyday things. Like if I could get someone to record a bunch of like locks opening and like things like that would be awesome. Like really little things like that. Tactile things would be really good. Let's see, what other sounds in book 2 did we have? I mean, it's a challenge on its own to try and make all of the cities sound different from each other. But they would sound different. Yeah, my cat Rogue is very present in the Queen's Blessing in those ambiences. What else? Trying to come up with what Teleron Riyadh sounds like is a challenge. I think I've got something that works really well now. How that's different from the Wolf Dream. How that's different from book 1 dream sequences that aren't really necessarily. I'm not sure what's going on here. Another thing is making sure that I know what's going on in the story. Like trying to figure out, where does this land in the cycle of dream types that we have, all those types of things, and then trying to figure out what the character would be aware of and what they wouldn't be. I can't signal things too clearly if the character isn't aware of them. That's a really good moment in book 2 where I call it the prophecy of the dragon theme kind of starts to pull at him, and the music gets really strong really quickly, and Rand just gets sucked in that moment. It's a really fun moment, and I'm looking forward to later scenes where that comes up again.
So, did you want to try sharing?
We can definitely try sharing a little sample. I will say before we share the sample that you want to go to the Kickstarter and listen to the full
From
chapter
the clear
samples there.
sky.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. Because what this is, the sample will give us a little bit of an idea, but StreamYard is kind of compressing it, so you're not going to hear the full immersive version that you would on the Kickstarter page. So this will be an idea, but not the full experience. So go check that out so that you can hear really what it sounds like, and make sure you have headphones on. And I will mention Amber's comment there. The Grom were really fun to design. I took a bunch of frog sounds and slowed them down a ton, pitched them down, did really weird things with them. But they do kind of end up sounding kind of like barks, you know, when they're slowed like that. So that was really fun. That whole scene was really funny to put together, because I had someone do a voice roll for Celine screaming in the distance as we get close to that whole scene. Mm-hmm. And it's really funny because I was explaining to her, this was someone that actually hadn't read Wheel of Time, but was a voice role for one of my Lord of the Rings projects. And so I said, you're gonna scream, but you're kind of make them fake sounding. Like it's not really, you're not really scared, you know? So we had to walk the line of that scene pretty well, which was really fun. So yeah, let's check out this sample. We might have to stop the background music though.
Yeah. Let's do that. There we go. Are you able to
Oh yeah.
play or pause, or
yeah?
Do I need to control stuff?
We're good. So I'll play. This is from the video that I did with Unraveling the Pattern. Really awesome breakdown video of the soundscape, which is on the Kickstarter page as well. So like I said, if you listen to this here, it'll be just a taste, but the full version you'll hear on Kickstarter. So let's check it out.
Lightning came, each bolt crisp and sharp, searing his eyes, each bolt striking a winged black shape. Hunting cries became shrieks of death, and charred forms fell to leave the sky clean again. The heat. The terrible heat of the light. He fell to his knees. He thought he could hear his tears sizzling on his cheeks. No! He clutched at tufts of wiry grass for some hold on reality. The grass burst in flame. Please! No! The wind rose with his voice, howled with his voice, roared with his voice down the pass, whipping the flames to a wall of fire that sped away from him and toward the Trolloc host faster than a horse could run. Fire burned into the Trollocs, and the mountains trembled with their screams almost as loud as the wind and his voice. It has to end! He beat at the ground with his fist, and the earth told like a god. He bruised his hands on stony soil, and the earth trembled. Ripples ran through the ground ahead of him in ever-rising waves of dirt and rock towering over Trollocs and Fades, breaking over them as the mountains shattered under their hooved feet. A boiling mass of flesh and rubble churned across the Trolloc army. What was left standing was still a mighty host, but now no more than twice the human army in numbers, and milling in fright and confusion.
Here we go.
Amazing.
So that will sound way, it's hard to describe it, but it sounds way bigger in headphones.
Yeah.
So check that out from the full sample on Kickstarter. And it's probably a good time to chat quickly about the two different versions, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
So each one of the soundscapes is originally going to be timed to the original audiobook. Makes the most sense because it's the original and because those are done already. But after I'm finished each one, I'm going back and retiming it with Rosamund's version. So I have to go in, extend out parts and add more music, change where the sound effects land and all that kind of stuff. So that will happen as well for each book. It just takes time to change it over. Book 1 is already done with Rosamund and the original. Book 2 is finished with just the original right now, but I'm going to slowly be working on Rosamund's as well. So they'll kind of like cascade out back to back. Book 3 and 4 are fully outlined and ready to go. I just need to start putting together ambiences and things like that. And I really want to start... Yay! Thank you guys. I really want to start outlining book 5, but I almost have to like hold off. I can't get myself too far ahead, because then I start to, I already spent a little bit of time as I was going through book 2 confusing myself with scenes that were in book 3, where I was like the Tarvalon stuff, I was trying to figure out where we were at in that, because I was just listening to book 3 and then trying to work on book 2, and I was like, okay, I need to, I can't go too far or I'm going to confuse myself too much on where we're at. So, book 3 is the next in the line, but like I said, book 3 and 4 are all fully outlined already, so they should move decently fast. And there's some really great stuff in book 3 and 4 that I'm really excited to get to. So that's just going to make me want to move faster through them, for sure.
I really need to listen to the Soundscape and the Rosamund. I've listened to the Kramer and Redding ones a number of times, but I haven't gotten to the Rosamund's audiobooks yet. So
it's a whole different experience, and it's interesting because it makes the soundscape feel totally different as well. But I've had people that have, like you say, have listened to the normal audiobooks countless times, and even they say that with the soundscape it feels like it's like you're listening to it for the first time in some ways, which is really, really cool. That's definitely, part of the goal is to make the experience new again. But I'll talk really quickly about how you put the two of them together. I have a syncing app that one of my amazing executive producers for the first Wheel of Time campaign put together for me, where all you do is you download the app, you add a folder for the soundscape, and then you add a folder for the audiobook, and it puts them together into a new set of MP3s that has merged them. All I need is proof that you've purchased the audiobook, and I send you the individual chapter files separated, and then it can link them all together super easily. It usually takes like 10 or 15 minutes to put them all together, and then you can put them on your Spotify or Apple Music or whatever you use, and nice and easy. That used to be a lot longer of a process, but now it's super fast. And what's really cool, down the road, I've done this for Lord of the Rings, but I'll do it for Wheel of Time eventually as well. I just need the time for all of this, is that for Lord of the Rings, there's different mixes. So there's a sound effects and ambience only version without any music. There's a music only version without sound effects and ambience. There's an ambience only version without any of the sound effects. So because this app is really easy to use now, if you want the audiobook with just the ambience, then you could do that really easily. If you want it with just the music, you could do that. Like if you're, for whatever reason, if you don't want the music, or if you don't want the ambience, you can have versions of it like that really easily. Because I know even for myself, like sometimes I'm in like the mood for the music, sometimes I want just the ambience, and I've tried to orchestrate the chapters in a way where none of them feel like too much. We don't want music all the time because it gets just to be too much, but it is cool that you can choose your mix kind of thing however you want there. And last thing that I'll say is in the app there's a volume slider. So I like to have the soundscape a little bit louder because I know what to expect, and I know what the audiobook is and all that stuff. But if you want it lower, then you can bring it down and have it more subtle if you want. So that is all up to the listener.
Crazy.
It's amazing.
Amazing.
I'm definitely going to check it out. And I'm currently re-listening to, I think it's book 6 with Kramer and Redding. So, but I think I need to start over with Rosamund.
One of the fun little Easter eggs that I'll mention is I took the intro of every book, the wheel of time turns, that whole segment, and I put them into a session and removed everything else. So it was just that passage from every book, and then I wrote music that transitions through each one. like different iterations of it through. And this is probably a super niche thing that might be lost on a lot of listeners, which is fine. I just thought it was cool, where each book, the music transposes it transposes by a certain amount, so that by the time we get to the end, it resolves back to the first one. So people might catch that, they might not, but it should hopefully subtly influence that like cycle to come back. So we'll see. It was a lot of fun to design that, at least. So pretty cool.
Amazing.
It's really amazing about what you think, what you could bring in to bring certain aspects of the world alive. It's really, really incredible and highly creative. I really admire that.
I appreciate it. The kind of, I don't know what you want to call it, but the kind of words that I try to go by with these soundscapes is a concept that I heard from a book called Making Smaller Circles, which is to, you can just keep zooming in to anything. I'm thinking about a scene in the Wine Spring Inn where, if a chair moves or something like that, it would have a certain reverb, a certain echo in that space. So I'm designing like an impulse response that resonates in there properly, so that the footsteps feel like they're in that environment, and that'll be different if we're in the forest or if we're in the waves or if we're in all these other spots. So I love how minute you can get with those things. And I always am looking at new advancements with technology and what I can pull off better. And that's developed over the course of the soundscape. Even when I released The Lord of the Rings originally, the files that you would get for the soundscape are called binaural files, which is just a stereo file that simulates the 3D, and it sounds great, and that's what you'll hear a lot of the time. But now I'm also able to offer 7.1.2 files, which are huge files, but they sound a lot bigger in your headphones. And if you're listening to just the soundscape, I'll pull it up really quickly here, because we've been talking about combining it. But if you want just the soundscape, that you can see that's the Hunt collection. It's pretty hard to make out. But it's just available as a podcast feed that you get when you back or when you purchase the soundscape. And no narration, it's just the soundscape. But those files are full Dolby Atmos files. So they will decode, is what they call it, to any speaker setup or any headphone setup that you have. So if you have a sound system at home that allows for like a 7.1 setup, then it'll play properly through that. If you were to somehow get a theater and play it through a theater, it would play properly through that. Or if you just had your phone, it would play properly through that as well. And actually, if you have AirPods that have head tracking, you can kind of look around in the space as well, which is really, really fun. Really fun.
So
Lots of ways to enjoy it.
It's a mirror world for every set.
Yeah.
Amazing. We've been keeping you for like over an hour now.
Yeah.
So,
Sorry, I can talk on and on about it. So.
Yeah, and we love hearing about this. But yeah, Roger, do you have any more questions? Do you want to ask chat? Do you have any other questions for Jordan? You should.
Do we have any more questions from chat?
No.
Now's the chance.
So Jordan, anything else you want to share with us or talk about, promote? We shared your Discord. Where else can we?
The Discord is the big thing where you can get updates. I'm also the Soundscape of Time on Blue Sky. I'm not sure how to say the tag properly, but it should be easy to find it. You can find my YouTube channel that has a lot of samples on there if you want to check out more. The YouTube channel is Books Immersed because the name kind of changes with the project that I'm working on the most. And I will say too, with the if you are planning on backing, you can get add-ons for the other soundscapes that I've done. So you can get the Lord of the Rings or the Night of the Seven Kingdoms short story that I did and things like that. So lots of fun stuff. I actually did Winnie the Pooh. And what was really fun about that was that it's public domain. So the narration is just included. It's all, together. So that was a lot of fun to do. And I can't help but keep thinking of new books that I want to do this for. Obviously, Wheel of Time is the focus right now, but if you're in the Discord, you can always recommend other books and things like that. And if you're really, really optimistic and want to dive fully in, the highest tiers of the Kickstarter are to request a specific book of your choosing that I would make a soundscape for. So lots of stuff on the go, but Wheel of Time is the focus, and I hope that people enjoy it.
Amazing.
I'm sure they will.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things from this community. So
That's good to hear. Good to hear for sure.
Looking forward to more, and everyone share the Kickstarter, join Discords, just.
Yeah, I have a fairly I have a fairly limited Wheel of Time reach. Because I'm fairly new to the fandom, so if people can share it in their Discords and things like that, or Reddit or whatever, that is awesome.
Yeah. Do it, fandom. Come on.
10 days left.
10 days left. Well, we're cheering for you.
Thanks so much.
And
Okay.
this fandom is capable of incredible stuff.
Yeah, if we can send the 40,000 letters or something, then I think we can back some Kickstarters. Come on.
Yeah. When it gets its ass moving, then we're on the move.
That's awesome.
So will you be on any other shows or anything coming up? We can.
Let's see. I do have plans. I will mention this. It's not 100% sure yet, so if it's not, then I'm sorry. But my plan is to do a kind of bit of a marathon stream towards to line up at the end of the Kickstarter campaign, where I'll be playing either all or segments of the Eye of the World without the narration, just the soundscape, just on YouTube for people to stop in and listen to where we are and ask questions and stuff like that. And I think it'll be just like a fun hangout for people to kind of build us up to the deadline. So
Nice.
follow my YouTube for that.
Yeah, we'll make sure we all share that.
Sounds good.
So, okay. Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight, or
Thank you.
today, maybe for you.
yeah. No, thank you so much.
European
It's been great.
Yeah, amazing. And we'll see all the rest of you next week, and stay safe in the Flickerverse. Bye, people.
Bye.